Hello, and welcome to this roundup of my 5 favorite romance novels that I read this month. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot. You're watching Random Olive Reads. First up is You Again by Kate Goldbeck, which is a standalone contemporary romance novel. This one has all of the When Harry Met Sally vibes, with Ari and Josh having horribly awkward run ins with each other over the years, and then becoming friends, and then making things messy with all of their feelings. There's so many time jumps in this book that it's labeled with like 9 different parts, but it's very clear where we are in everyone's lives. If this ever turns into a movie, you'll be able to tell what era you're in based on Ari's hairstyle and clothing. Ari is a stand up comedian with all sorts of aversion to commitment and thinks that Josh is an arrogant asshole who is weirdly romantic and believes in soulmates. He's actually a chef with big dreams and wanting to distance himself away from his famous deli owning father. We get to see the evolution of both Ari and Josh separately in both of their relationships and their careers. When they finally meet again and strike up a reluctant friendship, they're both at like all time lows, and miserable company is somehow comforting for them. They keep things totally platonic, but it's clear they have some emotional dependence on each other, complete with late night telephone conversations while watching a movie together separately in their own apartments. It all blows up when Josh pushes for more and Ari freaks out, as expected. We get to see both points of view in this story, and the humor mixed with heartbreak or hurts in a good way. I love how small details early in the story get remembered and then called back to later on, in the best sort of inside jokes between Ari and Josh. The supporting cast of friends and family rounded out the story, and it was really nice to see how everyone interacted with each other. The Scoundrel Falls Hard by Sophie Jordan is book 3 of the Duke Hunt series. Kellen and his father have been swindling a country village by posing as the new Duke and heir. The village people are out for blood and have chased after Kellen and plan to hang him. The local blacksmith, Gwen, believes this to be cruel and unjust, so she tries to save him by declaring that she's in love with him, despite him being a total stranger. To prove that they're actually in love, the marital banns are called, and there's a wedding being planned between these two people. In the 3 weeks of their engagement, Gwen and Kellen have come to an agreement for a marriage of convenience where Kellen will help Gwen around the house and the smithy, and she'll protect his reputation, I guess. While Gwen insists on keeping the marriage platonic, we'll see how long that lasts with the ever charming and protective Kellen. Bed Me Baron by Felicity Niven is book 2 of the Bed Me Books series. Lady Phoebe asks her best friend George for betting lessons since she is newly engaged to a duke and wants to know what she's doing on her wedding night. George has been her friend since childhood and has never really noticed Phoebe in that way before, but now he realizes that he's attracted to her. The steam starts early and often in this book, but the idiotic pining that George has for Phoebe is apparent throughout the book. And we get all these hints from everyone in his life that they thought he would have married Phoebe long ago, and it starts to sort of irritate him. While Phoebe is trying to be content with her new fiance, she continues to seek out George's tutelage and approval every step of the way. It's a heartbreak all around as these two learn to connect with each other as adults instead of the roles they've played all their lives. While I was annoyed with all the scheming of Phoebe's friend slash George's sister, I was glad to see Phoebe finally stand up for herself and decide that she needed some time alone to think through her options. This book was emotional and angsty in all the best ways. The Duke Gets Desperate by Diana Quincy is book 1 of the Sirens in Silk series. Anthony thinks that he will finally get possession back of the family castle after his stepmother tragically passes away. But it turns out that the stepmother left the castle to her cousin, who has just arrived to visit from America. Raya doesn't want or need a castle and is more than willing to sell it to Anthony at fair market value, but he also does not have any money. These two argue their way to a truce while also ogling each other and trying to resist their simmering attraction. Add in the mystery of what happened to Anthony's missing relics and the suspicious nature of his stepmother's death, and we've got plenty of plot to keep your attention on this book. I like the overall setup since I love a good property dispute trope, and I liked the way that Anthony appreciated Raya's financial competence. Both characters were extremely stubborn, and there's maybe one too many instances of miscommunication, but still it worked. This was a steamy read with a nice setup of Anthony's friends, who I'm hoping we'll see in future books. Seducing Mr. Knightley by Maya Rodell is book 4 of the Writing Girl series. Annabelle has been in love with the newspaper editor and owner Derek Knightley for ages, but he has not noticed her in the least. Finally, being tired of being overlooked, Annabelle turns to her own advice column to ask the people of London for tips on how to attract her man. Meanwhile, Derek is being influenced by an impoverished Marquess who has the ability to shut down the newspaper, but also wants Derek to court and marry his sister. The scheme has the benefit of protecting the newspaper as well as gaining entrance into proper society by marrying the sister of the Marquess. Derek has his own hangups, being the illegitimate and unacknowledged son of an earl, and is a complete workaholic to try to prove his worth. As Annabelle starts to enact her schemes of wooing Derek, he is completely baffled by her behavior and wondering why he's suddenly noticing her. It's actually pretty heartbreaking to watch him be completely oblivious to her efforts, proving that he really is the idiot that is mentioned in her column. He finally does wise up to Annabelle's charms, but there's definitely a lot of drama along the way. Thanks so much for watching this video. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.